Could the secret to eternal youth be found in blood transfusions from young people?
It's the only way.
Transfusions with young blood from teenagers, some claim it can reverse the aging process. It's being tested in patients over the age of 35 as part of a clinical trial called Ambrosia.
Ambrosia, a drink that tasted like honey and delivered by doves to the Olympians, was the source of Greek gods' immortality.
A myth dating back 1,500 years tells of several gods fighting over a valued urn of sacred ambrosia. The magical liquid could provide immortality.
Where people paid $8,000 to get the rich growth factors found in blood plasma platelets.
It's pretty much people from most states, people from overseas, from Europe and Australia.
Results of the trial have not been published, but Dr. Jesse Karzeman, who plans to open a business selling young blood, says patients who've had it say they feel amazing. And he says he's seen evidence of reversing the aging process in rats.
Their brains are younger, hearts, their hair, if it was gray, it turns dark again.
There's also been encouraging Alzheimer's research using young blood at Stanford.
We found that it was safe and feasible to administer infusions of young plasma weekly.
Dr. Sharon Shaw is a researcher who says they've seen evidence of improvement in functional ability.
It's all very exciting that there can be components in blood that could be healing.
Platelet-rich plasma, or PRP, treatments using a patient's own blood have been in demand as trendy vampire facials to fight wrinkles and as joint and tissue treatments to accelerate healing. And it's been tested to regrow hair.
We can actually use your own blood to stimulate the body.
The study hasn't concluded, but seeing enough short-term results, the researcher is optimistic.
What if you could reverse the aging process simply by getting a blood transfusion?
That's what a new company called Ambrosia claims to do, and they just opened a new facility right here in the Houston area.
Rekha Mudaraj spoke to the founder to find out how young blood works.
It's a controversial startup. Ambrosia is the brainchild of Dr. Jesse Karmazin, and right now there are 5 clinics located across the U.S. Karmazin says 150 people have already gone through the process, and several of them have even done it a second time.
My name is Jesse Karmazin, and as you heard, I'm the founder of Ambrosia, and we're a company interested in making you young again.
Dr. Jesse Karmazin believes the fountain of youth is filled with blood, young blood, preferably that of a person under the age of 25.
We know that as you get older, your stem cells aren't replicating as well as when you were young. And this leads to most illnesses.
He explained the science behind it during the Superhuman Summit in 2017.
And when they were sewn together, he found that the old mouse, which received the blood of the young mouse, became young again. So its gray hair turned black. It could remember mazes better. Its heart pumped better. In fact, in every way, it became young again.
If vampires are the first thing that comes to mind, Karmazin, in a phone interview with us, explained the process doesn't involve blood in its entirety, but plasma, the white translucent component that remains after white and red blood cells and platelets are removed. The results?
Their wrinkles are better. Their skin has a better color to it. And furthermore, on the medical front, we're seeing improvements in patients with symptoms of Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's, diabetes.
And by measuring biomarkers, he told me people have also shown improvements in cholesterol levels and inflammation. There is no published data to prove these claims, although Karmazin says scientific evidence from his clinical trials will soon be available. In the meantime, people continue to sign up for treatments on the company's website, which cost $8,000 for a liter of plasma, $12,000 for 2 liters. Just another sign that the promise of youth is a booming business.
The company wouldn't tell us the exact location of its Houston clinic, except to say it's located near Houston Methodist Willowbrook Hospital. What are the risks, and how was the company able to get FDA approval? We'll have those answers. Plus, doctors weigh in on the process.
And today we're starting to understand exactly how this works. So researchers at Harvard have identified GDF11. And additionally, there's a greater understanding that when we're young, we produce nutrients, growth factors that are important for our health, but as we get older, we just don't produce enough of them. And so our idea is to use essentially excess blood from blood banks and to help you restore your levels of these growth factors. And this is what it looks like. In fact, these are my parents, and they like the treatment. My dad said he felt very energetic, putting up storm shelters for the recent hurricane, and my mother thought her skin improved. It's about 2 hours, and apparently it feels really good. People say they feel pretty energetic, and we'll get to this soon, but we're also seeing a lot of medical improvements as part of our clinical trial. Now, first, I want to say I know this sounds like vampires, but there may be a good reason for that. In the 17th century, a noblewoman in Hungary, Elizabeth Bathory, was actually executed for bathing in the blood of young women. And apparently she was doing this to improve her appearance. And as our science is now demonstrating, well, there probably was a fact to these vampire legends. It probably works, but it's not something
The practice of human sacrifice has been propagated to the present day through the mystery religions. There are groups and institutions today which have preserved and continue to promote the teachings and practices of the ancient mystery religions. Unfortunately, there are many such organizations and secret societies that still exist today. They continue to teach the core doctrines and practices of the ancient mystery religions. The Dionysiac mysteries were observed in a number of different places. The ceremonies, which were orgiastic, required drinking of sacred wine, eating of the raw flesh of a sacrificed animal, and drinking the blood of the animal. The ultimate purpose of the cult's ritual was an assurance of immortality. The origins go back to ancient Babylon. The scripture says that the Babylonian mysteries will form the backbone of apostate religion during the last days. The link between human sacrifice and the mystery religions can be established beyond a shadow of a doubt. The Dictionary of Satanism by Wade Baskin describes the rite of Dionysus. They sound similar to the stories that are told by present-day satanic cult survivors. Dionysus, in classical mythology, the god of wine and fertility. His cult was widespread in Thrace, where the Thracian women were particularly dedicated to his orgiastic rites. The women, maenads, in their ecstatic frenzy, abandoned their homes, roamed the fields and hillsides, dancing, swinging their flaming torches. In their passion, they caught and tore apart animals, sometimes even children, and devoured the flesh, thus acquiring communion with the divinity. Revelation chapter 17, verses 4 through 5 declare, "The woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet, and adorned with gold and precious stones and pearls, having in her hand a golden cup full of abominations and the filthiness of her fornication. And on her forehead a name was written, Mystery Babylon, the Great, the mother of harlots, and of the abominations of the earth." The Babylonian mystery religion was started by Nimrod and his wife Semiramis. According to Flavius Josephus, a Jewish historian who lived during the time of Jesus, Nimrod was the builder of the Tower of Babel and was the first man that Satan tried to use to set up a new world order. Nimrod was apparently killed because of his open and public displays of wickedness. Herein lies the real reason for the establishment of the secret mystery religion. It was not created out of any desire to spread the real truth about God, but only to protect themselves from public outcry and retribution because of the wicked acts that they were committing. Reverend Alexander Hillsop's book, The Two Babylons, explains that although Babylonian religion was originally practiced in the open, it became necessary to conceal it. Hillsop writes, "It seems to have been now only when the dead hero was to be deified that the secret mysteries were set up. The previous form of apostasy during the life of Nimrod appears to have been open and public. Now, it was evidently felt that publicity was out of the question. Jeremiah chapter 19 verses 3 through 5 reveals that the judgment of God will fall upon any nation which allows child sacrifice. And say, Hear ye the word of the Lord, O kings of Judah and inhabitants of Jerusalem. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel. Behold, I will bring evil upon this place, the which whosoever heareth, his ears shall tingle. Because they have forsaken me, and have estranged this place, and have burned incense in it unto other gods, whom neither they nor their fathers have known, nor the kings of Judah, and have filled this place with the blood of innocents. Paul wrote, Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion hath light with darkness? And what concord hath Christ with Belial? Or what part hath he that believeth with an infidel? And what agreement hath the temple of God with idols? For ye are the temple of the living God, as God hath said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. Wherefore come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you, and will be a father unto you, and ye shall be my sons and daughters, saith the Lord Almighty. There is a promise contained in this scripture. If you will come out from among them and stop touching the unclean thing, then Jesus is willing to receive you. God is willing to accept you into his family, but there can be no compromise with this ungodly system.